I know that people don't come to spontaneous demonstrations with rockets and mortars. For the President of the United States, for 2 weeks afterwards, to deny that that was the case is either a cover-up or it is incompetence.
Ahead this hour, one of the Republicans calling for a wider probe, New Hampshire Senator Kelly Ayotte. And what's going on with the generals? Defense Secretary Leon Panetta orders an ethics review. And we know now a lot more about the FBI agent who triggered the Petraeus probe. He's the guy who brought down the Millennium Bomber. Middle East flare-up, Israel takes out the military commander of Hamas and takes rocket fire from the Gaza Strip.
Israel will continue to take whatever action is necessary to defend our people.
We'll talk to Michael Oren, Israel's ambassador to the United States. And President Obama at this hour in Staten Island to hear from storm victims. Plus, say cheese, the new members of Congress pose for their class photo. Perhaps the last time they'll look this happy. And good day, New York, as the nation learns more now about the key players in the controversy surrounding General David Petraeus. His successor at the CIA was on Capitol Hill briefing members of the House Intelligence Committee today. And joining me now for our Daily Fix, Chris Salissa, MSNBC contributor and managing editor of PostPolitics.com, NBC's Capitol Hill correspondent Kelly O'Donnell, and NBC Justice correspondent Pete Williams. Pete, first to you, let's talk first about what is going on in the investigation. The FBI agent who was first only known as the person who triggered this, he was an acquaintance, a friend of Jill Kelly's. We knew that he had been taken off the case, was in fact the subject of an internal ethics review at the FBI, and had sent a photo without a shirt. Now they're pushing back, the people speaking for the Kellys, to say that this has been really mischaracterized and that this guy actually had a major role in one of the big terrorism or suspected terrorism takedowns.
Right. What the Kellys people are saying is limited to the question of a picture, Andrea. They say that that's been very much misunderstood, that months before all of this started, he sent a picture to many people, and it may or may not have been received by Jill Kelly, this person says, showing him standing with a bunch of mannequins of the type that they use as a firing range, 3 of them, and then him as the 4th without his shirt on, just like the mannequins. And it wasn't meant to be sexual, it was meant to be funny, and it wasn't interpreted as being any kind of anything inappropriate, according to this person. Now, as for the agent, now that his name is out there, it makes sense about why he called initially a congressman from Washington, because Frederick Humphreys is a 16-year veteran of the FBI, and he worked in Seattle. He worked at the FBI in Washington State, was there in 1999, had a big role to play in investigating the Millennium Bomb plot against the LA airport involving Ahmed Rassam. And he knew the congressman from Washington that he called, because that congressman used to be the sheriff there. So it would make sense that he would call that congressman here recently when he thought the investigation was stalled. So, you know, a few more of those details are falling into place.
Now, Kelly, tell me about the House Intelligence hearing today, because the House members are trying to get more information about the Benghazi events, and General Petraeus is going to be meeting with lawmakers in the House and the Senate tomorrow.
Well, we are unable to know what is being said because of the nature of this classified briefing, closed door, so the kind of rich detail that Pete was just able to tell us about is not flowing yet. We hope that as the day ends that there might be some members who would be able to characterize the nature of what they heard without revealing any secrets. But it's an important step, and certainly members here have wanted to make a big distinction between the events surrounding the resignation of David Petraeus and the events in Benghazi. While there is some overlap because of the people involved, they are trying to really say they're looking at what happened in Benghazi, wanting answers. Many members, some in both parties, who have said the answers have not come quickly enough for something of this magnitude, to lose a U.S. ambassador and 3 other Americans in an assault on a consulate. So we expect a lot of attention tomorrow surrounding David Petraeus, who we can now say will be here early in the morning to visit with both the House and Senate Intelligence Committees. There has been concern about not creating a spectacle because of all of the attention surrounding David Petraeus now. And so there's been a bit of discussion about how the committees want to sort of protect him. They want to hear from him, but they don't want to create a distraction that goes far beyond his purpose for coming, which is, again, to talk about what he knew as CIA director, his trip to Libya to try to investigate. So there is a lot happening here, in a real sense that things are beginning to move forward after weeks, certainly surrounding the election period when people were away, when answers weren't coming. So there seems to be some new critical mass shining a light on this issue to get some answers. And we'll have to see by the end of the day if members are feeling satisfied that they're learning more.
And speaking of shining a light, the Defense Secretary, Leon Panetta, overnight on a trip to Asia in Bangkok, announced that they are going to have an ethics review to see whether there should be better ethics training of our top generals because of a number of lapses, not just these. There have been a couple of incidents lately, ethical, that involve personal behavior of various sort.